Today's video is all about cleaning leaves off your lawn. Whether this is your first time and you don't want to ask anybody how to do it, or you've been cleaning leaves forever, this short video will save you hours of time. So I'm going to give you all sorts of things that have worked best for me under specific conditions, and then tips on what you can do to your lawn and prepare it, and whether or not you've had new grass put down. I mean, there's all sorts of factors on what approach you use to take the leaves off your lawn, depending on your situation. So let's get to it. Number one, you want to do it when most all the leaves are off the trees. I have a couple pecan trees. They pretty much stay on the tree until a really, really hard frost or maybe snow on the ground. And so those leaves aren't going to come down for a while. But since I have new grass, I don't want to keep leaves on the grass because it's not going to grow. We're in the late season. It's actually November 20th as I do this video, but this applies to whatever time you happen to do this, depending on where you're at. A relatively cool day because you're going to put in some energy and you don't want to sweat too much if you can avoid it. You want a low wind day, and lucky for me, an overcast day. Again, so you don't overheat. You want dry leaves. Wet leaves can be like heart attack snow. You really want these things to dry out so that they move around easily. If they're wet and you can wait a couple days, it makes a really big difference. You also want to do it once if you can, twice if depending on how many trees you have. This is our second rake. I wanted the grass to grow, and if you just cover it with leaves, the sun's not going to get to the grass. And as far as blowers go, done all sorts of blower videos. I'll post those somewhere up there and down below. I've got a 1/4 acre yard. If you have like 1/8 of an acre, you might be able to use a battery operated blower, but you better have a whole bunch of these. Just hot swap. I have two. They run for about 30 minutes and then they're pretty much done. The electric blower is probably the best option. It's got a lot of power, especially this one right here, unsponsored, and it really does the job. Prepping your yard, it saves you a lot of time and frustration. Cut your existing grass down to 3 inches, the final cut of the year. Otherwise, if it's too long, the leaves are just going to get trapped in there. This is new grass. I'll post that video up here and down below on restoring grass areas. If it's too thick, it's just hard to get the leaves out. I start at a fence line or any kind of line and move the leaf pile into here. Don't make it too big. Otherwise, it's going to be hard to pull all the leaves out of, and you're just going to spend a lot of time moving a lot of leaves when you don't have to. If you have newly planted grass, maybe it's a month or two old, and it's still kind of sensitive, raking is dangerous. Here's where you really want to use the leaf blower if you can get away with it. You can use a leaf blower and blow this forever, but sometimes it just makes more sense to pick up the rake and move it that way lightly, and then pick up your blower and finish the job. Taking the twigs out really helps speed the process up. Don't throw them in there. You're just battling it the whole way unless you're ready to take and clean the final leaves off. In lawn care with leaves, perfection is the arch enemy of good enough. That's what we used to say in test pilot school all the time. The last 10% of the leaves are really hard to get up for whatever reason. Now, there's two approaches you can take here. If you're really a fanatic and you want that lawn barren of leaves, you don't want a single leaf going into the winter time, or if it's the springtime, you're ready for all the grass to grow, you can pick up all these little leaves. Rake's really not going to help too much because they're all over the place. The leaf blowers are probably the best option there. For sanity reasons, it's probably good to be satisfied with a 90% solution. It's okay to leave these last 10% of the leaves on the ground. They'll be fine. And after a while, after the sun comes up in the spring and everything's popping and growing, you won't even see these leaves anymore. They'll just decompose and they'll go away. I've used lawn mowers And I've mulched leaves. If you got too much leaves, that's just the problem. It can damage your lawn. You can use a bag and you can try to collect up all the leaves. That's a little bit of insanity too, again, depending on how many leaves you have. This amount of leaves, you're going to be emptying that bag like every 2 minutes. Sometimes it's just good to go brute force, rakes and blowers, and get the job done that way. Now you got your big pile of leaves. What are you going to do with them? There's little bins you can bag them up with. I have this wild area behind my house. So what we do is we fill these tarps up with leaves and then just pull them over the fence and then kind of level it all out for the good of nature. I think I've talked about some of these things before, and I'll post those videos up here and down below. Here's some claws I made that are virtually indestructible out of a 5-gallon bucket. So those work great. I'll show you how to use those. Here's some tarp, and I use these as an example. This is a 4x6 tarp, the blue one. The silver one is 8x10. If you have a friend, you probably can do the 8x10. If you're doing solo leaf removal, you probably want to stay with the 4x6. You can get a lot of leaves in here and get the job done. These are old containers, I think vitamin containers or something like that. I always put red on things so I don't lose them, because if you put them in the leaves, especially this one that's dark and you don't have red on there, you may never see it again. And these are spikes. I think I used some carriage. I'll put the stuff down below, and I think I did a video on this already. But you use the spikes to put on, get the tarp down nice and taut, and then you can use jaws and just fill this up, or you can rake them on just like heart attack snow. You want to be careful. Leaves can be deceptively heavy. Take the spikes out, fold this in. You can actually use one of the spikes so that you can carry this. Dump this in a dumpster, so you can put it in a raised bed, mulch it, whatever you want to do. But this helps remove it from where it currently is. These leaves are particularly dry, so see how much more the bigger tarp holds. So I'm going to use my trusty spike here. Just curious if I can lift this. I'm not saying you should. That's about 20 to 30 pounds of leaves. These little leaves are insane to rake up. So I'm taking the same silver drop cloth, using bricks, because I can't drive spikes into the blacktop. I'm going to lay those in there and then drop them on the silver drop cloth, get rid of them that way. We got a good bit already on the tarp. Now I'll finish the job with the blower. So I'm using both tools to their maximum benefit. The grass is kind of coming up with the aggressive raking to get the leaves out in the blower. I have to tone the blower down a little bit so that I don't lose all my grass. Through the front area, a light raking. If you have a shorter, smaller rake, it might actually help. Just bring it on the sidewalk and now run it down to the driveway where there's no grass, so we can just quickly put it on the tarp down there. This is a little kid rake. I think I paid a couple dollars and got each one of the kids one of these. So it's kind of worn because it's probably been out in the weather for periods of time, but it does the job getting in the nooks and crannies of all these plants. So sometimes a little tool like this can be magical. And here's what the front looks like after it's all been cleaned out. So there you go, 19 leaf removing pro tips to help simplify your life and get the job done. Thumbs up and comments always appreciated. Thanks for watching. If you're interested in all sorts of home repairs, outdoor maintenance, making and breaking things, designs of all kinds, I even do costumes, cosplay, and props. Check out my channel and please subscribe, because you never know what time-saving solution you're gonna see.